Hi, it's Anders. Today I'm gonna show you how I make the Vieux Carré. Welcome back. We're making the Vieux Carré today, which happens to be one of my all-time favorite cocktails. The Vieux Carré is French for Old Square, which refers to the French Quarter in New Orleans, where this cocktail was born. If you like a Manhattan, then you are gonna love the Vieux Carré. I think we should just jump right into it. Here we go. To the bar. Okay, the Vieux Carré. It's the New Orleans Manhattan. It's gonna be stirred because this is a sipper. We've got your cocktail spoon, mixing glass, jigger, I have a julep strainer, and then I also have a channel knife because I'll be doing a lemon zest on top. But you can have a regular knife or vegetable peeler, whatever, to get the oils out of the lemon and onto the cocktail. Also, at this time, decide whether or not you want this drink on the rocks or served up. I like it up because it's similar to the Manhattan, and I like to drink it as such. If you're gonna drink it up like I am, then have a glass chilling. For this one, I'm doing a little footed rocks glass that I like very much. These are the glasses that we serve it in at the bar. Oh, it's cute. Don't you think this is cute? I think it's cute. But if you want it on the rocks, serve it on the rocks. On a big rock is very good. This is how I'm doing it. Okay, the booze. Let me clean this up because I will break it. Okay, the booze. First, we're gonna need rye whiskey, cognac, sweet vermouth, benedictine, bitters 1, and bitters 2. Two kinds of bitters. I'll talk about that in a second. This is the first time that we're using benedictine, which is another herbal liqueur. This is a very large bottle that I have. They do come in smaller bottles. It's one of those, made from a number of herbs and spices. It's a very good liqueur that you really can't replace in the Vieux Carré. There's so much to say about this cocktail. So what I think makes this cocktail very good, the blend of rye whiskey and cognac. It's equal parts rye whiskey and cognac in this cocktail, and neither one overshadows the other. The cognac adds a fruitiness and the rye adds a spiciness. This is a merge of two wonderful worlds. As for the bitters that I mentioned, you're gonna want both Peychaud's and Angostura bitters. Specifically Peychaud's, because this is a New Orleans bitters, like the Sazerac. It's just not a Sazerac without the Peychaud's. The Vieux Carré, in my opinion, is not quite the same without the Peychaud's. The rye whiskey I'm using is Rittenhouse 100 proof rye. The cognac is Maison Rouge VSOP. The sweet vermouth is Coqui Vermouth de Torino. The Benedictine liqueur is Benedictine. And the two bitters are Peychaud's bitters and Angostura aromatic bitters. There's a lot in this one. We got 6 different booze things. Booze. A lot of components, but it is well worth it because this is such a good cocktail. All right, let me get this out of the way. This is gonna be tricky to make look pretty. It's like a family portrait. Oh, we're going to New Orleans. Oh. Okay, let's make this thing. I'm gonna start with the rye whiskey. So I will do 3/4 of an ounce of rye whiskey, 3/4 of an ounce of cognac, 3/4 of an ounce of sweet vermouth. So right now this is pretty simple. Equal parts rye, cognac, and sweet vermouth. However, 1/2 ounce of Benedictine. Benedictine is a little sweeter, so I don't like to go all equal parts. I like a little less of the Benedictine for balancing sake. And then the bitters. I'm gonna do 2 good dashes of Peychaud's bitters and 2 good dashes of Angostura bitters. Looked like I did 3 there, but the first one not a whole lot came out. So 2 solid dashes of each. You want a fair amount of bitters in this because with the sweet vermouth and the Benedictine, it does tend to be a little richer, but the bitters balances that out. And I should have said this earlier, but I'm using a 100 proof rye. You don't have to, but the 100 proof cuts through the richness a bit. So that's why I like to use that. So now we can add ice and stir. This is so stupid. I should be doing this closer to the freezer. And stir away until it's chilled. If you're new to stirring, you can use a chopstick. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you don't want to move the ice around too much. Just spin it all as one, so you're not adding air and what they call bruising the spirit. But what I'm doing is I keep the back of the spoon against the glass, and it takes a little practice to get used to. Once you do, then it becomes very simple. But if you're new to the game, then use a chopstick, and that's really easy to keep at the edge of the cocktail. I should have had a chopstick here so I could show you. The good news is it's about ready. All right, yeah, that's ready. So I'm going to grab my glass. There we are. We can strain the cocktail right into the glass. Get every bit. And then I like to put a little lemon oil on top. Because it is similar to the Manhattan, if you want, you could add cherries. I have seen people have cherries with their Vieux Carré, but I do find that the benedictine, it just makes it a little bit sweeter. So I get the sweetness from the benedictine as opposed to cherries. It doesn't matter, whatever you want. Wow, there. It didn't take much. I got plenty of oil on the cocktail, so I'll do the rest over here. There, just a small little zest. At the bar, we serve it just like this, but for you, I will make it very pretty. A little spirally loop-de-doop. There it is. The Vieux Carré. Okay, I'm gonna take a sip. Still one of my favorites. Yeah, this, if you like a Manhattan and you have not had a Vieux Carré, you have to have a Vieux Carré. This is so good. Oz, would you like to try it?
I would like to try it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really
It's really good, isn't it? Yeah. You know, like at first I get like this chocolatiness.
little zingy at the end.
Yeah. Nothing is too pronounced. At the bar, on the menus, we write out little tasting descriptions of all of our cocktails, and we've had the Vieux Carré on the menu for ever. And one of the tasting notes we put on there is perfect because it really is a perfect marriage of all these things. This build, I think, for my taste anyway, is very balanced. Try it with a little bit more or less of anything. Do whatever you want. It's your cocktail, but do try these ratios. I think you'll be very happy. The only thing is whether or not you want it on the rocks. I go back and forth. This cocktail is from the Hotel Monteleone, and they have a bar that's called the Carousel Bar. You walk in and it's this giant moving carousel that has bar patrons sitting at the edge of it, and they're just like spinning around the room like this. You have to kind of like scope out and see, like, is there a seat? I don't really know. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, here comes one, hop on, and away we go. It's a weird experience. It's kind of a silly place in my opinion. The last number of times I haven't gone to the Carousel Bar, because I will say, when I went there and I ordered a Vieux Carré, the bartender just threw together some ingredients into a shaking tin, shook it up, and dumped it out into a glass. But the thing is, they do so much volume there that he's doing exactly what he needed to get the drinks out. So I don't fault him at all. You've got to deal with the volume. That's why I say, you know, get out of the quarter. No, I love New Orleans. The first time I ever went there was for my 30th birthday. I wanted to go to New Orleans because New Orleans really is a cocktail mecca. I wanted to go have a Sazerac at the Sazerac bar. I wanted to have a Vieux Carré at the Carousel Bar, a Hurricane at Pat O'Brien's, which turned out to be this thermos of potent fruit juice. I don't need to have another one of those. But I, on average, get there pretty much once a year. I've been there, I guess, like 10 times now, so you do the math. It's not all about the French Quarter. Like, get out and see other districts. Am I getting old and bland? I hope not.
Old Square.
Old Square. Old Square! That's it, the Vieux Carré. It's my favorite cocktail. From here on out, it's just downhill. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any New Orleans stories. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Cheers! I could do this on the rocks. I could throw a cube in there right now if I wanted. I could do whatever I want.
Now give me the beat.